I don't want to live my life again.
Sing Pet Sematary one more time.
I don't want to be buried.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
A pet cemetery. Okay.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much
sure
it.
that we understood.
That's what it is.
Okay, that's where you're at right now.
I don't want to be buried in a pet cemetery. I don't want to live my life again. See, if the people in that movie would have listened to that song, none of that would have happened.
Bold statements with
It's
Ryan
true.
Juanita.
It's
Hello,
true.
everyone. This is Between the Streams. This is our weekly podcast here at Digital Trends, where we talk about movies and entertainment, everything going on in the world of that. We try to catch you up with what we've learned throughout the week. We want to talk to you because we're live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope. And because of that, we want to hear your thoughts, your opinions. Maybe you have some recommendations because there's so much out there right now. What we're going to be talking about today is yet again, more new streaming services.
There
So
are.
we didn't have enough.
Yeah.
More streaming
Or
services
some
that are out there.
people getting into it from their respective pivoting. They're pivoting into it.
That's yep. We'll
they
try
like to say that word. Pivot.
Yeah, you like to say pivot a lot.
It's,
I've
it's
just noticed that
it's a
today.
hot word.
That's the word for today for Ryan. We're also going to talk about some more, of course, comic book movie updates that we have going on with that, and a lot of stuff that we're going to be getting to today. But because we're live, we're also talking about horror movies today.
Yeah.
Ryan is a huge horror movie fan. I like some of them. So we're going to kind of pare it down. We've got a great list at Digital Trends of a bunch of different horror movies that you can stream right now. But our question that we put out there is, what movie are you watching? What would you recommend that we watch?
Yeah.
What's your favorite one out there right now? And we want to hear what those are as we go through this list. I'm Greg Nibbler.
I'm Ryan Juanita.
So let's talk about this. So this list has been compiled at Digital Trends of different horror movies that you can stream right now.
Yeah, we're actually updating it right now because it switches a lot.
Because
and
there's so much that's out there.
Amazon, I think, this is just a conspiracy theory, but I'm pretty sure it happens, is that they pulled a bunch of their stuff that was available for free streaming so that you'd have to pay for it. Because why not? I mean, hey, you're already there. You were planning on watching it. What's $3 or $4, right?
Right.
So
Yeah,
I think
that
that's
does
kind
kinda
of
make sense.
BS, but whatever. HBO actually sent us a list, and they have a lot of good stuff. So we were just going to go through some of the stuff that you can just easily watch for free on your respective streaming services, depending on
whichever one you've got.
what you subscribe to.
Okay.
But yeah. We have a few choices.
Well, what do you want to go to first? So for HBO?
HBO has a few good ones. They have a lot of good ones.
These are in particular to some of the ones that Ryan has highlighted for
these
us.
are the highlights. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the good stuff.
Okay.
No, they have The Omen. If you haven't seen that one, the original, it's really great, and they actually have all three of them.
The Omen's with
The
Damien,
third one has
right?
Sam Neill in it as he's like secretary to like in the president's cabinet, and he's still Damien.
Oh, okay. So he is still
Mark
Damien.
of the Beast, bro.
Okay, so Damien, that's the one. The Omen, just to remind me of this. So Damien's the one with the kid who's
he is the son of
the son of the
son
devil.
of a jackal, spawn of Satan, Mark of the Beast,
All
etc.
the above. Check.
Born
Okay.
of a jackal.
All
That's
right,
how
born
you
of a
know it's
jackal.
bad.
Yeah, that's usually
That's
not a good
what you
sign.
want.
Apologies to all of you out there who are born from jackals. we'll just have to
If
issue that.
so, you might want to look into it. You may be the Prince of Darkness.
You could be Prince of Darkness. All right.
Okay.
So The Omen.
Yes,
is streaming on
The Omen's on there,
right
and
now.
all three of them. And if
HBO.
you've already seen The Omen, you may not have seen the next two, and they're all pretty solid. So,
Okay.
Then the new one, is on there. That's kind of fun if you haven't seen it, or
So
if
the
you want to
new
rewatch it for the season. One I picked out that's kind of weird is Warlock.
Yeah, so
a lot of people probably don't know about this movie, but I really liked it when I was a kid, and I've seen it more recently, and it's kind of a stoner flick, I guess. It's like a 90s movie, but
I actually pulled the trailer for this
Yeah.
for those of you that are watching live and not via the podcast. So this is a movie that is streaming on HBO right now.
that
talking
trailer
about
looks
different
so old.
horror movies. And this is one that
Looks like it was
Ryan
made like
recommended,
1937.
called Warlock. Yes, it looks pretty terrible.
I think
There's
it's
some
going to be in
amazing
higher
eyebrows.
quality on HBO.
Some amazing eyebrows on the bad guy in that one. What I'm assuming to be the bad guy. So Warlock. What is it about?
It's about a witch hunter who like comes to the present, and there's like a warlock there. I don't know.
Okay.
It's
All right.
really not about much besides like an evil witch dude that comes to town, and this other guy is trying to stop him.
Okay, I think that's
It's kind of a
that's the
comedy, I
perfect
would
tagline
say.
for it. Evil witch dude comes to down. This
Yeah.
one dude's trying to stop him.
Exactly.
All right, so Warlock, that is streaming on HBO.
Yes, and then the other one I picked out from HBO is House of a Thousand Corpses. This
Yes.
is Rob Zombie. It's sort of a almost homage to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It has that real sort of like shock, sort of bad vibey appeal that you know, if you really are looking for a scare, I really think those Rob Zombie movies, Devil's
Zombie does a
Rejects
great job.
too.
Yeah,
they're like, you know, really bad acid trippy vibey type movies, but it's like it'll actually give you a little scare.
They're also disturbing.
They're disturbing.
Like, they are disturbing.
That's what it is.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, if you're looking for a little blood pressure to elevate, and the normal fare isn't doing it for you, those Rob Zombie movies.
Rob Zombie movies are good. Just taking a look here in the chat as we're getting some comments coming through. Daniel just said, speaking of witches, Hereditary is pretty great. I actually just watched Hereditary for the first time maybe like a week ago.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
It is disturbing. Yes,
Okay.
they did a very good job with that one. That's another one from that A24 group.
Okay, we love them.
Yeah, they make some great movies.
Well, speaking of witches,
really good one.
Also, The Witch is on Netflix, and for those who haven't seen that one, that is like come back to Jesus sort of horror, like Old Testament horror sort of stuff. It's like
I have not seen The Witch.
It's about this family in like, you know, old school Massachusetts, and they like go
Classic
off on their
witches.
own into this like sort of isolated farmland, and some witchery comes about. I won't give any more away, but it's also disturbing, but sort of brilliant filmmaking for those who haven't seen it. It's really fun.
So that's The Witch on Netflix. Again, walking through some of the best horror movies that are out there to stream right now. These are Ryan's recommendations. Sam just said, going back to the Rob Zombie style, The Devil's Rejects.
Yeah,
is
that's
amazing.
also on
That
HBO
is.
right now. So yeah, that's another good one to check out. It'll shock you.
Yeah, it definitely will.
Yeah. A few other ones on Netflix. It Follows, which we have talked about. It's still one of my favorite newer modern horror movies, and it's just fantastic.
It Follows really is a great horror movie. And again, I'm not a huge horror movie fan. I'm a casual horror movie watcher, but this one is so different from any other movie that you'll see in that genre. I mean, it's really hard, I think, to make something unique in horror movies.
It is. And part of the way that It Follows does that is this sort of out of time sort of vibe it gives you. You're not sure when it was made, because there's newer cars and older cars, and like it has a 70s vibe to it, but then like one of the characters is playing with this what seems to be a smartphone made out of like a toy clamshell. It's strange. It just kind of does this thing to make you feel off. But then then the storyline, I think most people know, but it's an STD that like basically creates a creature that follows you and takes the shape of different people, different beings.
I'll say this: after watching that movie, it will kind of disturb you walking around in public for a while. Like, why is that person walking towards me?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and it does. It makes all the little. It uses subtlety in brilliant ways.
Yeah.
And a couple other ones, The Conjuring, which I know you're a fan of.
I am.
That's on Netflix right now, and The Shining. I mean, what else can you say?
Yeah, you can't go wrong with The Shining.
I think I'm going to watch it again, even though I've seen it a lot. I clicked on Netflix to make sure it was still there, and their little like sub trailer started happening. I was like, I want to watch that.
Yeah. All right. So The Shining, that's another one on Netflix. Again, talking about different horror movies that you can stream, and drop your recommendations into the chat as well. We would love to see those, because there's so many different ones out there.
Yeah.
So going from Netflix, we covered HBO, Netflix, now Amazon.
They're being cagey and pulled a bunch of theirs. But one that is still on there is Innkeepers, which we have on our horror list as well. And this one looks really interesting. I haven't actually seen it, but I guess it basically is about two innkeepers that like they're working their last night on shift, and they're kind of screwing around. They're like, hey, let's investigate that ghost that everyone's always talked about in the hotel.
One of those kind of deals. Okay.
Yeah, and it kind of starts out as like a slacker comedy, I guess, and then turns into something different. So
okay. So
maybe something you haven't seen,
on Amazon, and now let's go to Hulu.
Hulu has a couple of good ones. First of all, they have Hellraiser 1 and 2. And we were just talking about Hellraiser 2. It's a messed up movie, man.
So it's been a long time since I've seen Hellraiser 2. Like, Hellraiser 1 has some of the best quotes of all time. Like,
yes.
Jesus wept. I have such sights to show you.
It's some good Hellraiser.
Yeah.
Nice job.
Thank you.
What is the guy's name? Pinhead.
Pinhead.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then later on you find out how he becomes Pinhead. I think that's like Hellraiser 3.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Your suffering will be legendary.
It's like the delicious suffering.
So anyway, Hellraiser 1 and 2.
2 is so Hulu. Messed up. One of the scenes.
I'll have to see.
There's a scene on a mattress that like you'll never be the same after you see it. It's
okay.
Shock and awe type stuff.
All right.
And then that's all I got.
And then Let the Right One In.
Oh, Let the Right One In. You're right. The last one. And if you haven't seen that, I think it's the original Norwegian. I think it's is it Swedish? I don't know. It's Icelandic, somewhere in that Scandinavian area.
Scandinavian.
But that's a really original one about a vampire, and it's a slow burn, but it really does. it does it right when it comes to spookiness. It'll give you the spooks,
that's
the chills.
Great recommendations for, especially, since it's October, some different streaming horror movies. There's a whole list that's being constantly updated at digitaltrends.com too that you can check out. So we're going to be talking about a bunch of different things here coming up, but I did want to say there is another horror series that just went up on Netflix today that you can check out called The Haunting of Hill House. So it's let's see, their quote is, it's a gothic horror adaptation, follows a family of 5 siblings who move into a haunted mansion with the hope of flipping it. And instead, of course, things happen. But it does look pretty good. It's got a great cast in it, and that is up right now for streaming. I haven't watched it yet, obviously, since it just came up, but I will be checking that out.
Yeah, I think it's getting good reviews. It seems like it could be a fun one.
All right, so we've got some more stuff that we're going to be discussing, including Stephen King's, yet another Stephen King movie coming out, a remake, and we've got some comic book movie adaptations and updates that we're going to be discussing. But let's talk about the box office really quick for this weekend, and a big movie coming out that I know you're excited about. Which is
First Man. I am really excited about this. I like all that moon stuff. I don't know if you remember, but they did that series From the Earth to the Moon back in the day, and that was just awesome.
I agree.
I love hearing the story of and
this is about
they started with just like sort of a completely impossible goal and put it together with science. But this is from Damien Chazelle, the same guy that did Whiplash and La La Land and stuff like that. And apparently it's just another smash hit. Rick Marshall, our movie reviewer, saw it already. He said it's really, really great.
Ryan Gosling.
As we had expected. Yeah.
Yep. So it's
Claire Foy from The Crown, Kyle Chandler, Jason Clarke. It's got a great cast. And just the cinematography just looks sort of spectacular.
It really does look great. So First Man is out in the theaters right now that you can check out. Also, I wasn't quite as familiar with this one, Bad Times at the Old Royale.
El Royale.
Oh, the El Royale, excuse me. Okay, Bad Times at the El Royale.
Yeah, this looks good. It's being called like some sort of, there was a really good pitch for it, but yeah, it's basically like everyone comes together and they're having a good time, and then like terrible stuff starts happening, and there's like a huge cast of characters. They all have sort of their own little stories, and they're all looking for redemption in this hotel on this one night, in this hotel in Tahoe. And it stars a ton of people: Jeff Bridges, Dakota Johnson, Chris Hemsworth, Nick Offerman, John Hamm. So
that's a big cast.
Yeah, it's a big cast, and it looks like just sort of one of those really interesting ensemble flicks. Yeah.
So a couple of movies there for the box office for you to check out. That's definitely one I'll watch when it comes to Netflix.
Yeah,
that's
sounds
a
about right.
Movie for me.
Sounds about right.
Yeah,
it's getting decent reviews though.
Yeah, well, it looks good. Bad Times at the El Royale. Okay, back to a horror movie. I'm talking about a trailer that we got this week that I was excited about.
I wasn't, but I liked it.
Yeah,
I was like, "Why are you remaking Pet Sematary?" And then I watched the trailer and I was like,
"Okay, you can make Pet Sematary.
Looks pretty cute.
Yeah, looks pretty cool. I don't want to live my life." Okay.
Yeah, they got to get the Ramones song, which we prefaced at the beginning.
They have to get that. Yeah, Pet Sematary getting another adaptation, a brand new version of it, of the Stephen King classic. And it does. It looks good.
Looks messed up.
I mean, I like that John Lithgow's playing the old man in this one. That's great.
Although he doesn't do the accent.
Yeah, I know.
That route. Don't want to go on that route.
What goes up there don't come back the same.
I think that's kind of messed up. He's not doing the accent.
Yeah,
so it's a big part of it.
Don't go up there.
I think South Park may have ruined it for them, and they're like, just do a regular accent. It's gonna be too comedic with the main accent.
It's too hard. But yeah, the Pet Sematary trailer. So it's coming out next year, and it looks good. It was making me think about what other Stephen King movies, if they're starting to remake ones. Firestarter could maybe get remade.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that just Stranger Things?
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I mean, it's not.
You got a point.
But Firestarter would be fun. I'd love that.
Firestarter might be all right.
Stranger Things really ripped off the blood thing.
They kind of did. Now that you say that,
that's all right.
Anyway, Stephen King movie. So that's coming out next year, along with his million other things that are going to be coming out. But we have a lot to get to today.
Firestarter's awesome.
Firestarter's
I haven't seen that in forever. For those who haven't seen it, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, like a 5-year-old Drew Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore just unleashes on this town, and it's like no holds barred.
Yeah. It's pretty
I guess
good.
I shouldn't have. That's kind of a spoiler, but it's like a 40-year-old movie.
I mean, yeah. Sorry, spoilers. But yeah. So anyway, Pet Sematary trailer out for that looks pretty good. Let's go on to some other news. We got some as usual comic book movie news.
Yes.
Black Widow, which has long been speculated that Black Widow was going to get her own movie,
right?
And now it has been confirmed. Black Widow is getting a solo standalone movie. Scarlett Johansson getting $15 million for the movie.
That's
guaranteed money.
Good. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, well, apparently that's kind of rare for these standalone comic book movies.
Oh, I see.
Because they sign long-term deals. Like if you compare it, Brie Larson is getting $5 million for Captain Marvel, but she had to sign a 7-movie deal.
She's not quite Scarlett Johansson fame yet either. I mean, she's definitely like the hot new thing, but she's not quite, Scarlett Johansson level.
Yeah, and that's a good point. So,
but yeah, I know you weren't very excited about this movie.
Well,
so I guess we'll see what they do.
I mean, I like Black Widow and all, but she doesn't have superpowers.
I know. No, I get it.
It's just like
the only way they could do this is if they make
movie.
into a spy movie, but that could still be
and
cool.
that's fine.
Yeah,
it's
like superhero adjacent.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Hawkeye. It's like, well, you shoot really good bow and arrow. That's really cool.
I mean, isn't Hawkeye
practice really hard? Maybe
they say that Hawkeye might turn into
the
new character. Yeah, Ronan.
I think it's Ronan.
Yeah.
That's
Avengers 4.
Anyway, Black Widow getting her own movie, so no word, of course, when that's going to happen, but it is in the works. We also have Black Panther 2 officially confirmed with Ryan Coogler back.
Everybody's really surprised.
Yeah, I know. Real shocker there that they were able to make that work. So he's going to write and direct this one again, so just like he did with the first one.
But much more interesting is the James Gunn news.
Yes, so James Gunn, I think probably everybody knows James Gunn fired from Guardians of the Galaxy 3 by Disney, and now DC is swooping on in.
Fired for tweets that Disney already knew about.
Yeah, there's a whole, you can read into that, the whole long backstory there, but
yeah, now DC pulled him in.
DC is like, yep, we'll take you.
Yeah, we had a really hard time getting directors for Suicide Squad. So.
Yeah, so now the apparently he is attached to Suicide Squad 2.
Yep, and
maybe even to direct. I guess they're talking about that.
I think he'll direct. I even wonder what they're going to do with the cast. I mean, maybe they'll probably keep the same cast. It's going to be really interesting because
whether they change that up or not.
That made money, but it was a critical disaster for them. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Well, so there we go. That is the news on the James Gunn front for DC.
Yeah, I just wonder how much reboot is going to be there and how much sequel.
Yeah. I don't know. The whole DC universe is just such a mess.
It's such a mess.
That I mean, Suicide Squad was it was there.
It was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Harley Quinn was the only good thing in it.
Especially at the end. Both that one and Superman versus Batman, or Batman versus Superman, they weren't great, but they were really bad at the end.
Yeah.
Like in my
opinion, really terrible at closing out. Yeah. All right, so we got that. One other
third act.
kind of a superhero thing, I guess, is Glass. So Glass, if you haven't seen Unbreakable or Split from M. Night Shyamalan,
Shyamalan?
Thanks for calling that out. I was trying to run that over.
Shyamalan. There you go.
I know. Thank you for making sure. You called me out on it. I was wrong.
Somebody was
That's what you're here for. M. Night Shyamalan. So his movie Glass, which is the third, in the trilogy that we didn't really know was going to be a trilogy.
Or probably he didn't know either. Yeah,
probably not. But tying Unbreakable and Split together with Mr. Glass, all three of them, we got a new trailer for it that just came out this week, and it's all three of them in basically some kind of a, I don't know, insane asylum or something like that. It appears is what they're doing with this, and yeah, it looks, to me, it looks great. If you haven't seen Split, James McAvoy in it is phenomenal.
Yeah,
like I haven't seen a lot of James McAvoy movies, but I'll tell you, after Split, I became a huge fan of how good he is. He is really,
I mean, he's
really
the
good.
Reason that the new X-Men are good. He and Michael Fassbender.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm excited about Glass. That's probably a theater movie for me. It's January 18th, 2019. So that's when that's going to be out.
Yeah, it looks really interesting.
Something else for also the day before that, January 17th, 2019, Discovery, Star Trek Discovery will be back out on CBS All Access. Have you subscribed to CBS All Access yet?
No, I subscribed and then promptly canceled.
Okay. Well, there it is. So we got another trailer of that. Of course, there's going to be a brand new Spock. That's another new actor playing Spock. Cool. So it looks good. I still haven't had enough reason to subscribe to CBS All Access yet.
And looks good is a good point. I mean, that show is just well made. It looks really cool.
Yeah.
And, the characters are interesting.
It's just one more streaming service.
It is.
And that's what we're going to talk about here.
Yeah, why don't we
jump into that?
Yeah.
So how many different streaming services there are out there? Obviously at the top of the show, we talked about HBO's version, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
And there are so many other ones, including CBS All Access. And now another company jumping in, although this wasn't a surprise, but Apple with some of their new live streaming that they're going to be doing. Which how is it going to work? Like if you have an Apple device, you're going to get free live streaming for specific programs that they'll have.
It says they will take a multi-armed approach. Part of this offering free content to basically the Apple fans through the they have the TV app that you can get
if you have an
on
Apple
iOS devices or on your Apple TV that's going to be piped into, and then the other plan is they're going to offer sort of like add-on channels the way Amazon does it,
right? So you could
add on HBO or Stars or I don't know what they're doing.
Apple really has been confusing.
They are confused themselves, it seems like. Well, we got to get into this space. They and Facebook are just like, gotta have that streaming in there. And they just can't seem to figure out what they're doing.
An exact quote, actually.
That was the meeting. That was actually
Jobs
tapes from the meeting. Yeah. No, Steve Jobs would have done a good job. That's Tim all the way. That's Tim Cook all the way.
We got to get into the streaming. No, but I think it's just... You need to take a solid approach to it if you're going to be doing it. And Apple
they started out with like those dumb TV shows
it.
that they had with like Gwyneth Paltrow, and it was like some sort of app Shark Tank thing or whatever, and nobody cared about that.
Terrible.
Yeah, well, that's not a good way to start.
Which and there's a lot of content out there. I mean, if it's free, okay, that's one option. We also have Snapchat. In case you didn't know, Snapchat is getting into streaming short movies or
short TV shows. So now this, on the other hand, where Apple seems completely confused, Snapchat seems laser focused on its audience. And this, while I don't want to watch it and I think it sounds kind of dumb, I think it could be kind of a brilliant little strategy. What they're doing is they're creating a bunch of mini shows that you can watch on your phone. They're actually making them so it's portrait mode instead of landscape mode or whatever. It's your phone is your vertical your vertical phone style. So they just pop on your screen. They're like 5 to 7 minutes. And they have 12 original shows that they're coming out with now. I don't know if they're going to be any good, but I bet you those youths with their Snapchats. Yeah, I feel like I'm 75 years old because I don't know anything really about Snapchat, but I feel like this could really work. They have a couple of just a few of their shows just to highlight. They have one called Class of Lies, which is a college murder mystery from the writer, one of the writers of Riverdale. They have a show called Co-Ed, which is a comedy from the writer of Love on Netflix. So they've got some talent behind this. They have this one called Dead Girls Detective Agency, which is an adaptation of a young adult novel.
I've actually heard of that before.
And VHS, which was a horror movie, but they're using that as a acronym for Video Horror Shorts.
That's actually a great... I don't know if you've seen... Talking about horror movies.
The original VHS movie.
No, and VHS too. It's actually pretty good.
Is it though?
Yeah, it is, because it's just a bunch of like strung together, like it's a bunch of little horror movies.
Okay, so that's what it is.
That kind of loosely tied. I mean, the
I didn't know that was
story
the same thing.
The overall story is terrible, but it's basically you're watching these.
Well, I love like
movies.
Shorts. Horror shorts are usually great.
I'm telling you, watch VHS.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so they're doing that, but I think even shorter. They're doing like 5 minute. Bam.
These ones
in
are
and
like
out.
15, 20 minutes strung together into a movie. So you get like 4 or 5 of them in a VHS movie.
So anyway, that's Snapchat's plan. It seems like all they're going to be doing is getting more ad time and getting people to stay on their site for longer, and probably not spending that much to do it. I don't know if any of these things are going to, win an Emmy, but it seems like a kind of a smart strategy to me.
All right. Well, we have that, and also AT&T.
Yeah, now AT&T
has got a Netflix competitor that they're going to try to launch.
I mean, they already have DirecTV Now, which is a live TV streaming service. They had a skinny bundle on top of that. They're kind of doing like everything they can.
Yeah.
So they bought HBO, so they have they bought Time Warner, which is like this huge media company, obviously, and so they own HBO and all kinds of stuff.
So a lot of stuff that's out there right now, a lot of different streaming services. It gets kind of hard to keep track of all of them at some point, but that's what we're here to help you with here at Between the Streams.
Yeah.
We'll
no shortage of stuff to subscribe to.
Which is why we also love it when people give us recommendations, because with all of this programming out there, we can't watch it all. So always let us know. Also, if you hear the sirens in the background, those are actual sirens going on outside of the building. We're in downtown Portland. So
it's a dangerous city.
It's dangerous, yes. All right, so so moving on, Netflix. Some other things obviously coming out on Netflix, and this I was a fan of the series, but I have to admit, I even forgot about this again. House of Cards season 6. There is another season. The final season of House of Cards is coming out. Season 6, November 2nd, and
we do have a new trailer.
We do have a new trailer, and it's it's about Claire. I don't want to spoil anything, but kind Kevin Spacey's not in this one. You probably know that. So yeah, he's gone. How they're going to explain that, actually, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know how they're going to explain that in the series. But regardless, it's Claire's time.
Yeah, looks like it's got a good cast.
Yeah, it does.
Greg Kinnear.
It's just if you're tying up the
Diane
whole
Lane.
series, and it's weird. It's a weird situation.
It's definitely a weird
Because
situation.
how do you take
it's
the
kind
main
of like,
guy from the
it's kind of like the Connors. You're like,
Yeah.
why are you still doing the
even
show?
trying, yeah. And Claire's a great character, but it's the two of them together that makes that show good. Like, you couldn't do it without one or the other, in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, and you're just like, okay, well, Robin Wright could probably be doing something else.
She's
and
awesome.
John Goodman could probably be doing something else too. So what do I know?
Contracts.
Maybe they're both going to be hits. I mean, the
Could be.
Connors seems like people think it's going to be a hit. I don't know how that's possible.
I don't know. But that's, anyway, coming out November 2nd on Netflix. Also, something else that you can watch today. And since Netflix comes out with so much content constantly, this one's called Apostle. It's a movie, and it's set in 1905. And it's Thomas Richardson travels to a remote island to rescue his sister after she's kidnapped by a mysterious religious cult, demanding a ransom for her safe return. It looks kind of like a early 1900s like horror movie a bit, with a cult mixed in and some weird stuff going on, and he's trying to crack the cult. Michael Sheen is in it. I don't know. I think I'll end up watching this for sure. Whether it's going to be good or not, I don't know. Netflix pumps out so much content constantly, and they got some clunkers in there. But
That's true.
Nonetheless, it's in the spirit of the season. It looks kind of horror-like, so I think I'll give it a watch. Yeah. So there we go. So that's Apostle. And we're going to circle back around to the top and talk about horror movies here again, too. But since now we ended this show, or last thing before we did that last week, our last thing before we circled back to the top of the show, was talking about Rambo 5. We have to talk about Rambo 5 again. So Rambo 5, every week at Between the Streams, we'll bring you an update on Rambo 5. So Rambo 5 now has a villain.
Not sure that's
attached.
the best policy.
We'll review that policy after this show. Rambo 5 is happening.
Yeah.
And what's good? Oh, it's Rambo 5 Last Blood.
Yo, because First Blood, now Last Blood. When you draw Last Blood. Yeah. I wonder if they're going to bring that guy back who did that terrible song for the first movie.
I don't know.
That'd be good.
That would be amazing.
He probably hasn't worked since then.
Rambo 5 Last Blood. So the villain, this time he's battling a drug cartel, and Rambo's a cowboy. So
I'll watch it.
The villain is going to be Hugo Martinez, and we have the actor. It's Sergio Perimanchetta, who's a Spanish actor. And he's going to be the bad guy drug cartel leader who kidnaps Rambo's buddy's kid.
Oh, yeah.
That's what starts it all off.
You don't want to do that.
You don't want to kidnap Rambo's buddy's kid. That's the last thing you want to do.
That's a bad idea.
Not when you're dealing with Cowboy Rambo. So, anyway, want to make sure everybody knew that. Especially Cowboy Rambo.
It's even harder.
He will not put up with that.
He's even hardier.
Yes. All right, back to the horror movie topic, just before we wrap up today's show.
Well, before we get that, I wanted to touch on a few of the anticipated series, because we've got a piece out, and it'll be highlighted this weekend on some anticipated series that are coming out. Just wanted to touch on a few of them. We already talked about Haunting of Hill House. That's coming out soonish.
Today.
Oh, today? That's pretty soon. Mm-hmm. And then there's a few other interesting ones. There's The Righteous Gemstones, which comes out October 16th. That's the HBO show with Danny McBride and John Goodman. Speaking of John Goodman. And they play a televangelist family.
Oh.
And they're like, it's a comedy.
Oh, yeah, that looks really good.
Yeah, so that's coming out soon. We've also got Chilling Adventures of Sabrina coming out on October 26th, which is sort of a Riverdale
it actually looks pretty
adjacent show, and it looks like really dark.
It looks very dark.
Yeah, they're doing a very demonic version of this teenage witch. And then a few others. The Night Flyers is coming out in December. That is George R.R. Martin's book that is being
on
televisionized
Sci-Fi
on
Network?
I think it's on Sci-Fi.
Which is also kind of horror, like horror in space.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it was described.
Exactly. And just wanted to touch on those. We've got that coming out. You can actually look it up right now, but we're going to have that on our weekend if you want to check out some more shows. And we've also highlighted some shows that are coming up, like the Lord of the Rings series and some other stuff that you want to sort of get ready for.
Nice.
A lot of good TV coming out.
And all that at digitaltrends.com that you can take a look at. So, I guess, and go there and take a look at, all the recommendations that Ryan gave earlier for the streaming movies, but there's a whole huge list of them.
Got a good list of
you can stream. And
how you can get it for free.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Ish. All right, so Again, thank you everybody for tuning into Between the Streams as well. We really do appreciate it. We're live at noon Pacific every Friday to catch you up on everything that's going on during the week for entertainment and get you ready for the weekend and let you know what's coming out as far as we know. And we love to hear recommendations. And we've been getting some emails, thanks to Courtney who wrote us, giving some recommendations. And you can send those emails to podcast@digitaltrends.com. Maybe there's a show we haven't talked about. Maybe there's some hidden series that is now on Netflix that didn't get enough attention back in the day. Let us know what those are, because we would love to check them all out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and recommendations are usually the best way to go, and that's why we try to do our best on this show, Between the Streams. I think is that about it?
Yeah.
Take us out with another Ramones song? Or?
I could.
I mean...
Rock and Roll High School?
Yes, all right. Ryan's going to take us out with Rock and Roll High School. That concludes this episode of Between the Streams. Talk about throwing you on the spot.
Rock and Roll High School.
There.